Yeah. And so we back.
That's right.
Hey, yo, this is your boy OVS Maximus. And I like writing love songs, you know what I mean? And you know, sometimes when we go back and we think about the time when we first met, this is the kind of stuff that comes out of me. Now baby, guess what? I have
I met Gemini on a couch in the Edson Hotel.
It didn't sound right. Neither one of us was married then.
But we both needed therapy. When I was 9 years old, my mother decided to marry a man with a red beard. Abuelo Enrique, he said, never trust a man with a beard. He could be hiding something. Cortez had a beard. And you remember what happened to Cuauhtemoc, don't you? I kept looking for signs of insincerity, but I only found my stepfather's Viking grin. It was a staple of his old-time personality. He loved tooling around on his 1946 Roadster more than me or my mother. 4 years later, we left the trim suburbs for a 2-bedroom apartment, Chef Boyardee and coin laundry on Sunday. I never asked my mother why we gave up financial security, a chance at a nuclear family, she had a house with 2 stories. But I had a feeling that some prophecies were self-fulfilling. I guess my mother figured out the ugly truth about the bearded Viking, but she decided to let me figure out what type of a man I would become. Would I choose to grow a beard or not? My own father was a phantom. A wannabe philosopher who only called when he was inspired. He wrote dense letters packed like cigarettes with epistemology that burned my image of a man into an ashtray. He was not an Indian, but he still could not grow a beard or maintain a bank account to save his life. One day, your only acquaintances will be the people who serve you drinks. You will smell like old newspaper and corduroy, damp corduroy, and you will only be held to account for your You will only be held to account by your poetic solitudes. You will only be held to account for your poetic solitudes by your fatherless insecurities. Because now you have a son. He wants to walk, more like run. Hallway to the door, back and forth, but he is not yet one and his kneecaps are still developing. So he falls and he bangs his head on the hardwood floor, howling at the pain and the fright of falling. I act like nothing happened, as if I could fool him out of his tears, but my son is looking at me like I'm a bully, and something inside me tells me he's right. See, I could be gone. Gone looking for God. Gone looking to find myself, the man I was supposed to be. Gone to write my days of solitary adventure. Corner stack of dog-eared books. Pot of cold coffee. Cigarette smoke and sandwich meat. Yeah, I could grow a beard. Tell myself that this was what personal freedom and sacrifice really looks like. But I want my son to trust the traits I carry. I want to be present, to lift him up from his howling place. I want him to know the difference between pride and responsibility. I want him to know the difference between dignity and attitude. I want him to know what a macho really looks like. So then I kiss his hands, and I kiss his knees, and I kiss his feet, so he knows that men can be trusted not to leave too. I am not from New York. I am from San Francisco, and it's so beautiful to be here and to see people I don't know and to tell you my stories. It's beautiful, and I appreciate the attention and the respect you give the poet on this mic. I heard so many good things about the inspired word, and man, I'm feeling it right now, and I really am proud to be here, honored to be here. It's a cool spot. My family is in Manhattan with me. Actually, we're staying in Williamsburg, and they couldn't be here because my son is too young, and I didn't know how late we were gonna go. But he'll be there on Saturday at the Museo del Barrio for this show. But he's seen me perform so many millions of times. I just wanted to make sure that he was able to get some sleep tonight, because tomorrow we're gonna go see the Statue of Liberty, and I want him to have the energy to do that.
How old is he?
He's 5.
You should go to the Brooklyn Children's Museum.
Brooklyn Children's Museum sounds good. I appreciate any suggestions for what we could do. He's asking me, Daddy, what fun things are we gonna do while we're here in New York? I'm like, well, you ain't gonna come to my shows, because I know that that just bugs you out. He will spend the whole time, you know, dancing and screaming. And we were at this restaurant the other day, El Rey de la Caridad, and they had some merengue playing. He just got up out of his chair. He starts doing merengue. And all the people are like, oh my God, look at this kid. I was like, go for it, man. Do your thing. He wants activity. He takes 3 different dance classes. He's got hip hop dance, he got carnaval and samba, and then he also he takes capoeira too. He's 5, man. The cat is just he's a movement animal, and he can draw so well. So man, you know. So I work in East Oakland. I carry a briefcase, and I code switch for a paycheck. I push black and brown equity at these meetings with superintendents, regional task forces, symposiums on structural racism and violence prevention. I'll be in these meetings talking about systems. The gravity of black boys in these systems, nothing like Newton's apple, more like the Grim Reaper's sickle. Maybe that's why the street signs in East Oakland sometimes look like tombstones. 1 in 3 will be incarcerated, 7 out of 10 will recidivize, 25% survive on $10,000 a year, half won't graduate high school, 35% are unemployed, 16 times more likely to die from homicide. 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 The gravity. For the first time ever in Oakland, Latinos are the majority in public schools. We have the highest birth rates, soon to eclipse all ethnicities in the state. But disproportionate to graduation rates, schools be hostile like the Alamo. Mama's request to speak to the principal falls on monolingual ears. Wait here, please. Her cultura held hostage by bankrupt state policies, disrespected by an incompetent curriculum. She becomes deaf to the system. Her babies cry for attention by waving gang signs. The volume. I'll be in these meetings talking about systems. I'm often the only Latino in a room full of black friends. And if someone decides to call me hermano, ask me what Latinos think about Obama, or where can I get the best steak burrito? I tell them steak is carne asada. I tell them, go to El Ojo de Agua taco truck on Fruitville Avenue and East 13th, because I represent my raza. It's what we all want to do. We want to represent. say, the volume is rising. Listen, we've been saying the same thing for 10 years. The system is a placebo, an inertia, apathetic. I even busted poems in these meetings. But all I hear is business cards dancing on gravity. The fact is, black boys are at the bottom of every measure of success, every standard of achievement, every level of society. If the gravity of the situation don't move you to do something different, then the volume of brown demographics are gonna hit you like a tsunami. So when we say black and brown unity, what could we be talking about? Are we talking about getting treatment for our issues with good and bad hair? Pelo bueno, pelo malo? Do we all just need to learn to speak American? America. Yes, the continent. The first recorded African slave uprising in the Americas happened in Mexico in 1546. The first African free pueblo in the hemisphere was founded, named after Yanga, an African prince freed slave in Veracruz, Mexico in 1609. Mexico's second president, Vicente Ramon Guerrero, was an African Mexican who abolished slavery in 1829. After the first U.S.-Mexican War of 1848, when Mexico lost half her territory, Mexicans refused to force runaway slaves back to their U.S. slave masters. Mexican and African, we have a rich legacy of alliance. We don't teach that in school. So black and brown do not see each other as equal. In 1965, African Americans celebrated the Voting Rights Act, ended Jim Crow prerequisites to vote. When Chicanos began the Delano grape strike, Mexican Americans grabbed the national spotlight for the first time. Today, there are more than 200 public schools, 500 streets throughout the country named after Martin Luther King Jr. and Cesar Chavez. Still, every February we learn that civil rights were invented by a black man's dream, and Cesar Chavez, who was born in Arizona, must struggle to be seen above the Bud Light girls celebrating Cinco de Mayo. Bud Light? Civil right. When I hear the undocumented scapegoated as a threat to African American livelihood, the problem is not just a lack of mutual respect. There is a financial interest invested in our lack of knowledge of each other. Who is who? What's my name? Is brown the new black? It's not about who owns the bottom. It's about who got my back. Who represents me? Latinos in New York will tell you, right? Afro-Cubanos will tell you. Alvacha, Petey Thomas, Soledad O'Brien, shit, Daddy Yankee will tell you. And know the soul of Black Peru. Know that blacks are immigrants too. Know our common history. The interdependence of black and brown is a reality now in Oakland, Fresno, Los Angeles, New York. At every level, black and brown need to be at the table representing like Yanga, like Guerrero, like Martin, like Cesar. If we're going to thrive, we have to represent and together.